It began the way so many days do, not with shouting, not with violence, not with sirens or flashing lights. It began with something ordinary. A shopping mall on a Saturday afternoon. Bright storefronts glowed behind glass. Escalators hummed as people moved up and down. The smell of coffee drifted from a food court. Parents held shopping bags. Teenagers laughed too loudly. Security cameras blinked silently from their corners, watching everything and saying nothing. A place built for comfort. A place built for control. A place where nothing unusual was supposed to happen. But control has a way of revealing its cracks when assumption replaces evidence. At 2:34 p.m., a woman walked to the front doors of Southgate Mall. She had no idea that within the next hour, she would be accused of a crime she did not commit, escorted out in front of strangers, and humiliated in a way she would never forget. And if not for one unexpected moment, one man deciding to look closer, her story would have ended right there. This is the story of how security threw a black woman out of a mall, and how everything changed when the owner walked in. Southgate Mall had stood for more than 20 years. It wasn't the biggest mall in the state, but it was one of the busiest. Built during the golden era of suburban expansion, it was designed to feel safe, familiar, and predictable. Families came here every weekend. Elderly residents walked its halls in the morning for exercise. Teenagers treated it like a second home. And like most modern malls, it was heavily monitored. Cameras in every hallway. Security patrols circulating at all hours. Clear policies meant to prevent theft and disorder. From the outside, Southgate Mall appeared perfectly controlled. But control often depends on who is trusted and who is watched more closely. On busy days, security relied heavily on instinct, quick decisions, snap judgments, assumptions made in seconds. And that Saturday afternoon, one of those assumptions would change everything. Her name was Monique Harris. She was 32 years old, a public school teacher, a single mother. People who knew her described her as calm, thoughtful, and steady. She avoided confrontation. She believed in fairness. She believed that if you did nothing wrong, things would work out the way they should. That morning, her day started early. She woke her 8-year-old daughter for school, packed lunch, checked homework, answered emails from parents and co-workers before the sun fully rose. Her daughter complained, again, that her winter jacket felt too tight. The sleeves barely reached her wrists. Winter was approaching fast. So Monique promised she'd buy a new one that afternoon. She dressed comfortably. Nothing flashy. Nothing suspicious. Just a black winter coat, jeans, boots, and her purse. She grabbed her phone and headed to Southgate Mall. To her, it was just another errand. To someone else, it would become something entirely different. Just after 2:40 p.m., Monique entered Harper's boutique. The store was bright and orderly. Jackets hung neatly on racks. Soft music played overhead. Everything felt calm. Monique moved slowly, browsing the children's section. She checked price tags, compared sizes, ran her hand over fabric, imagining how warm it would keep her daughter. At one rack, she paused. A blue padded jacket caught her eye. It looked warm, durable, perfect. She lifted it from a hanger and draped it over her arm. Then her phone buzzed. A text message. "Mom, did you find one yet?" Monique smiled. She typed back a quick response. And somewhere across the store, a sales associate noticed her. The associate watched Monique closely. At first, she told herself she was just being attentive, doing her job. But attention slowly turned into something else. The jacket stayed over Monique's arm longer than expected. Her eyes drifted to her phone. She didn't head straight to the register. And instead of asking a simple question, instead of offering help, the associate made a decision. She contacted mall security. When the call came in, security responded immediately. 2 guards were dispatched. They didn't review the store's cameras. They didn't ask for clarification. They didn't confirm whether any item was missing. They trusted the accusation. Because in places like this, suspicion often moves faster than evidence. The guards entered Harper's boutique and walked directly toward Monique. Other customers noticed a shift in energy. Conversations quieted. People stepped aside. The atmosphere changed. "Ma'am, we need to check your bag." The words landed hard. Monique looked up, confused. She blinked, certain she must have misheard. "Why?" she asked calmly. The response came immediately. "We believe you took merchandise." No alarm had gone off. No item was missing. No footage had been reviewed. Just belief. Monique felt her chest tighten. She opened her purse without hesitation. Inside were only her wallet, her phone, and her keys. Nothing else. She explained that she hadn't left the store, that she hadn't hidden anything, that she was still deciding which jacket to buy. But the guards weren't listening. Their minds were already made up. Security took Monique by the arms. Not violently, but firmly enough to make a point, enough to send a message. Shoppers stopped walking. Phones appeared in hands. Whispers followed her. Monique didn't resist. She didn't raise her voice. She repeated one sentence over and over. "I didn't steal anything." But authority moves faster than truth. She was escorted to the mall corridors, past familiar stores, past strangers whose eyes followed her with curiosity and judgment. People didn't know what had happened. They saw security escorting a woman out and assumed guilt. By the time they reached the main entrance, Monique's heart was pounding. Not because she was guilty, but because she understood how this looked. The glass doors slid open. She was pushed outside. And just like that, she was alone. The doors closed behind her. The warmth of the mall vanished instantly. Monique sat down on a bench just outside the entrance. The winter air felt sharper now. Her hands trembled, not from cold, but from shock. She replayed the moment in her head again and again. What did I do wrong? Why didn't they listen? Why didn't anyone stop them? Inside, shoppers continued their day as if nothing had happened. But for Monique, nothing would feel normal again. What Monique didn't know was that someone had been recording. A bystander, disturbed by what he was seeing, had pulled out his phone. His video showed everything. A calm woman. No resistance. No stolen items. No explanation. Within hours, the video was uploaded online. At first, it received a few hundred views, then thousands, then millions. Comments flooded in. People recognized a pattern. They had seen stories like this before. Different location, different name, same outcome. The video reached someone unexpected. David Whitman, the owner of Southgate Mall. Whitman had built the mall from the ground up. He prided himself on running a clean, fair operation. When he watched the footage, something didn't sit right. This didn't look like theft. This looked like a failure. So, he didn't call security. He didn't issue a statement. He didn't send an email. He got in his car, and he drove to the mall himself. Inside the security office, Whitman stood in front of the monitors. He watched Monique enter the store, browse, smile at her phone. He rewound the footage. Again and again, there was no theft, no concealment, no justification for what had happened. The room fell silent. Whitman turned to the guards. His voice was calm, but unmistakably firm. "Bring her back." Outside, Monique was still sitting on the bench, still confused, still shaken. When Whitman approached her, she didn't recognize him at first. He introduced himself. Then he apologized, not with corporate language, not with excuses, but with accountability. He told her she had done nothing wrong, that the situation had been mishandled, that he was sorry. For the first time that day, someone believed her. An internal investigation followed. The conclusion was clear. Monique had not stolen anything. Security guards were removed from duty. Store policies were rewritten. Mandatory bias and de-escalation training was introduced. But the larger question lingered. What if the owner hadn't walked in? What if the video didn't exist? Would Monique have ever been believed? This wasn't just a mall incident. It was a reminder that assumptions can become accusations, that authority doesn't always equal truth, that dignity can be stripped away in moments. Security can remove someone from a place, but only accountability can restore dignity. Sometimes justice doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it walks in quietly. and finally tells the truth.